Hey everybody, Jay Barbino here. Welcome back, continuing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm having a blast playing it. We've made it to Torvus Bogg. So, Torvus Bogg, we're going to see some major emulator issues, I think. Unfortunately. Let's try to get these things to explode, please. There we go. Usually killing one sets off a chain reaction. Yeah, but because of the rain, couple that with the lag we're already getting from the scan visor every so often, we're going to get some slowdown here or there, but that's okay. I would still highly encourage people to give this a shot if they can find a copy of the ROM. Though, of course, I'd also encourage people to buy the game. Be cool to see maybe a re-release on Switch. Anyway, I owned all of the 3 individual games and the trilogy. Okay, new enemies here. Come back. So these shriekers shoot weird little sonic things at you. I'm just going to walk by them. Okay, I'm just going to try to get out of here. It makes you walk through a lot of water, unfortunately. So that was actually the entrance to the temple back there, but we can't get in yet, so we're going to actually find a different way. But yeah, similar to the first game, they really like showing you what you're lacking and making you suffer through it a little bit before giving you the solution to it. Which in the first game was the gravity suit. It's a little different in this game, but not by much. Yeah, no thanks. Let's just avoid those. So these things are just like the baby Shegoths from Prime 1. They have a little more HP. Grenchlers, yeah, they're really irritating. Just like most Light World-related creatures, the Dark Beam's going to work some real magic. If we can actually hit them, please. They also have a lot more HP after you shoot their backs off. There we go. I guess I could have just left those alone. I didn't even have to necessarily kill them. Could have just ran right by them. They would have been shooting lightning at us the whole time. Transdimensional bomb slot there. I think I've got those. Yep. You'll notice I didn't scan, like, the bridge, for example. I know that's not a logbook scan, and it's really there to kind of explain to you what you need to do with the bridge to progress in the room, as opposed to, like, environmental context, which is the kind of stuff that I like to show. Okay, we're about to come across a very common and extremely irritating enemy. I hope you're ready. So we actually can't go anywhere in this room. The 2 doors that we can interact with are unreachable to us currently. So all we came here to do was hit the bomb slot, and that's it. So I'm pretty sure the enemies that I'm thinking of are going to show up back in the light version of Forgotten Bridge once we get back there. Yup. So these are Dark Pirate Commandos. In fact, I should scan them first before I forget. So the way that I deal with these is a little counterintuitive. So I actually, I use the Dark Beam. Even though they're dark creatures, they'll take increased damage from the Light Beam. But the important thing is because they warp around like assholes, they're basically Chozo Ghosts from the first game. I like to freeze them. So a charge shot from the Dark Beam, while it's not doing a lot of damage to them, will freeze them, and then you can just instant shatter them with a missile. Alternatively, I think 2 charged Light Beam shots would work. Eventually we'll get super missiles. Probably 2 super missiles would work. They're just annoying because you can't track them easily until much later in the game. And they just start showing up everywhere. It's just like the Chozo Ghosts. The Chozo Ghosts. I guess I haven't talked very much about how the Light Beam and the Dark Beam counters work. Basically, if something is a light-born creature, then it'll take increased damage from the Dark Beam. If it's a Dark-born creature, it'll take increased damage from the Light Beam. So, for example, one thing... Ooh, just missed me. One thing that's a little counterintuitive, Dark Samus. Dark Samus, while her name is Dark Samus, she's technically a creature of the light world, so she takes increased damage, significantly increased damage from the Dark Beam. Just something to keep in mind. Alright. So we were able to get up and around to activate the Morph Ball Cannon. And this will allow us to enter the temple from the top. Oh gosh. The lower door will lead to a super missile door, which we can't open yet, so we had to come in up top. And we can break this for an item just in a bit. No reason to do it right now. Okay. Always good to double check that you've got the scans. You can see even the flying pirates, they die so quickly. It's just if they're moving around, it's very hard to hit them with the Dark Beam. Wow. Massive jukes. This is where, like I had said, like I'm not going to hesitate to use my ammunition. It's just, it's so good. They're so weak to the Dark Beam. Alternatively, I could just kill them with missiles, but either way. And then I'll just do a real quick run here to stock up on some Dark Beam ammo. That's probably good enough. Alright, we got our super missile back. It's exactly how it was in the first game. The difference is it's no longer our go-to top damage dealing piece of equipment. It still does a lot of damage. I think the major difference is, depending on the circumstance of the enemy, a charged Dark Beam or charged Light Beam shot might actually do as much, if not more damage, than a super missile. And a super missile, you have to charge up the charge beam, and then there's a delay between hitting the missile button and actually launching the super missile. So sometimes it's actually better to use your charged light and dark beams. It's just really understanding the circumstances. But the super missile still is all around a very good item to deal damage. In addition to heavy combat damage, subject shows signs of numerous Ing possession attempts. All failed. Resisting these assaults would require incredible stamina and psychic durability. A great warrior comes to the Temple of Torvus. May you succeed where I failed. I am Avok, the last sentinel of this temple. Heed my words carefully. As you can see, this temple has been crippled by the ravages of war. While the main chamber has been mostly preserved, the remainder of the temple has been flooded. You must use your abilities to venture into these flooded areas and find the keys you need to enter the Dark Temple. The waters of dark ether are foul and venomous. Avoid them if you can. I have updated your translator module. You can access devices and doors coded with emerald holograms. Search the area is now open to you. The Ing will seek your light with great zeal. Do not underestimate them. The time for talk is over. Good hunting, and may the light of ether guide your aim. Alright, and our translator module is updated. So that means we can start reading the green holograms and green doors. The world warped. Amidst this turmoil, we discovered many disturbing anomalies. Spatial disturbances appeared across the land. Objects went into a state of dimensional flux, their atoms divided between ether and somewhere else. There was little time to ponder these strange happenings, for we had to deal with the devastation of our lands. So again, as typical, when you enter the new area, Aegon Torvus Sanctuary, the first thing you want to do is try to get to the temple as fast as possible. Because you want the ability to be able to start unlocking the doors. Right, hop on down. I'm going to activate this elevator, but I'm not actually going to use it right away. We'll be making our way down there very soon anyway. I'm just going to go and grab an item and also hit the map station, I think. So the reason I didn't get this on the way in is because you either have to back out or go towards a super missile door. We didn't have the super missiles at the time. Just very quickly, I'm going to head up here. And this is the map station. I'm backtracking to grab this because the only other time we're going to be in that specific room to get this after we got the hologram translator is pretty much when we're done with Upper Torvus anyway. Alright. Just a very, very mild backtrack. It's either get it now or get it when we're basically done with Torvus completely later. So it's kind of like, what's the point? So if anyone wants to use this as a way to route for like a walkthrough, that makes more sense. I mean, I could have gotten it later for completionist's sake, but it would have been completely pointless. So this is the elevator that we activated inside the temple. And here we are. So I'm going to go this way first. There are 3 ways to go, actually. One of them is completely locked to us for now. And for now, we need to find a way to get to Dark Ether. There was one way at the Forgotten Bridge, but we couldn't actually leave that room within Dark Ether. Just skip that guy. No reason to bother. The Ing attack. The day came when space was torn asunder, revealing dimensional rifts to a dark place. Horrible dark swarms streaked forth from these rifts, engulfing nearby creatures and transforming them into what we would call the Darklings. The dark creatures became our enemies, and peace came to an end on Ether. That missile expansion I picked up is very easy to miss. So these are non-dark pirate commandos. These only exist in 2 rooms in the whole game and then disappear forever. So you gotta scan them here or in one room later. Go. I just use the same method. Freeze them. Both the normal pirate commandos and the dark pirate commandos, they actually leave if you don't kill them fast enough. It's like the devs had mercy on you. They realized that they were being such a pain in the ass that you couldn't track them as they went invisible. The normal ones don't actually go invisible, but still satisfying to kill them nonetheless. Oop, that's the way we came in. I need to go through the other door. I forgot that the door locks behind you after you walk through it. That's what we're looking for. So each of the 3 main zones has one Luminoth portal that they built, and then just a variety of other unstable ones that you can power with your beams. Okay, so we won't be spending too much time here because there's really not much to do. There's a new enemy here. I'm just going to run by it. It's a pain in the ass, and frankly, really, it's almost like never worth your time to stop and try to kill. But it can knock you off platforms, so you just kind of want to go, and I'll scan it once I get onto solid ground. This is Hunter Ing, and they read your inputs and can go invulnerable when they sense that you're going to hit them with a missile or a charged shot. So what you kind of have to do with them is just shoot them with the light beam normal shots, and I think it takes 4 or 5. It's just very time-consuming. They're very annoying enemies. Do our little safety save here just in case. Stocked up on ammunition. Good enough, I'd say. So we're diving into Dark Ether to grab a suit upgrade that was taken by one of the Guardians. Actually have a little opposite here where you actually have to activate this in Light Ether to open it up in Dark Ether. It usually works the other way around. That's the Boost Ball Guardian. I would say one of the hardest Guardians in the game. It's also the first fight where there are no safe zones in the boss arena, so it's effectively timed in a way. Once you understand his movements, like his patterns, it's really not too bad. The Boost Guardian. Boost-powered Warrior Ing. Boost Ball ability grants great speed to enemy. Target can only be damaged in solid form. Find a way to keep it solid. This Warrior Ing has absorbed the power of the Boost Ball. It can boost blast towards its enemies using its body as a potent weapon. When it is not in solid form, engaging it in Morph Ball mode may provide better attack opportunities. Okay, so we just have to be very careful to not take extra damage against this thing. Okay, well, that was fine. Where using the Seeker launch or the Super Missile might be a good choice. We've already done excellent damage to it. Okay, and now it's going to go and become Boost Ball, and it's going to zip zoom around 3 times. This is the pattern I was speaking of. You got to just be ready. After the 3rd time, he turns into Goop. Then he goes back to Boost Ball 3 times. Then Goop. Repeat until you can turn him back into solid form. We did a ton of damage to him in the first phase, so I think he skipped a little bit further into his typical cycles. That poor Inglet got hit by a ricochet. There's 1. There's 2. Now, one thing to not underestimate is the damage he does when you touch him, when he touches you when he's in goop form, is a lot. Like, he does like half an energy tank's worth of damage if he hits you when in that like lighter goop form. So just be very cognizant of that. There's some randomness to how he boosts around and ricochets, so it's quite challenging to avoid it sometimes. It's just very RNG dependent. Here he goes again. So it's very much dependent on how many energy tanks you've picked up. If you haven't picked up many energy tanks, you might be in some trouble. And there's just that tiny bit of lag that happens when you're going into and out of Morph Ball form can really be killer. And don't try to avoid him in Morph Ball form when he's boosting around. You just want to just keep jumping. It's the only... I mean, again, it's basically RNG to a certain degree, so it makes the most sense, I think, to just stay in the air. Sometimes you'll get hit, sometimes you won't. It's fine. If there's one type of damage that you want to focus on avoiding, it's getting hit by him when he's in the lighter purple goop form, because that's where you're going to take the most damage. Alright, so now we have the boost ball. And interestingly enough, this follows a similar formula to how the first game did it, where once you get the boost ball, then you end up backtracking to Talon Overworld. And just like that here, we're going to end up backtracking to Temple Grounds. There's our first Dark Temple key. We got all three temple keys in Aegon pretty close together, whereas in this one they're a bit more spread. Oh, that's right. We just got it and I already forgot. So I think this is probably the point in the game that probably ends up tripping up new players. And once again, I'm gonna hit that save station. I don't want to have to fight the Boost Guardian again if we get a crash. Because I think at this point, players are really gonna start questioning, like, where do I go? This same thing happened in the first Prime game, you know. Where can I use the boost ball? Like, what does that actually unlock for me? And it's kind of hard to remember because there weren't that many in-your-face places that seemed blocked to you for the behind the boost ball. So it's really just thinking about where were there half pipes. There was one in Temple Grounds, and then there were actually two in Aegon. Though the second one in Aegon is sort of blocked. It was like filled with sand, so that's obviously not one we have to worry about right now. But we're actually going to use both half-pipes to get the item and then actually get back to where we want to be. I have kind of what I think to be a bit of a clever pathing to get the item and then again come back. So here's our first half-pipe. I didn't really count this one in half-pipes to think about, but here's one right here. So this is the same path we took to get to the Boost Ball Guardian in the Dark Worlds. The save station in the Dark World was in this room. Now we can scan the spinner for the research. And by opening this up, we're actually opening up the Dark World pathway as well. So that will give us more room to maneuver in the Dark World and actually allow us to explore more places, specifically to get one of the keys. All right. So now we're just looking to get out of Torvus Bogg. So the fastest way, without having to do any like morph ball rolling like through the abandoned work site with the spore, we could just avoid that and just take this little light beam pathway, and here we are. I probably should have saved. I probably should have, but that's fine. We saved relatively recently after the Boost Ball Guardian. And we don't have to go very far at all away from the elevator here, which is nice. If this was like on the other side of Temple Grounds where you had to like go up to the Great Temple and then back down, I think that would have been too confusing. I still think it's already a little too confusing as it is, but I mean, I figured it out when I was younger, so I guess I would expect most people could. Okay, now we can open this. We went to the Dark World specifically to bypass that one door. And look, a half pipe. So you could actually go through the lower part of this a lot earlier. But it dead ends at a purple door. And we don't have the tools to get through purple doors yet. So instead we're going to go above and through. To this ornate room. If you look at the map, we're actually directly underneath the Great Temple, Hall of the Honored Dead. Very important room. This is actually the last room. That portal up there is where we're going to come out at the very end of the game. So we can scan some of these and read about them. This is a statue of Vemos, the third Sentinel of Ether. She died giving birth to her son Umos, who in time became fifth Sentinel of Ether. Q-Sis, the second Sentinel of Ether. Q-Sis was the first Sentinel born on Ether and protected the planet for 3 centicycles. J-Gunk. Gunk. The fourth Sentinel of Ether, J-Gunk, was Sentinel when the Ing brought war to Ether. He died in battle while defending the Great Temple. This is a statue of X-Kar, the first Sentinel of Ether. It was X-Kar who discovered the world of Ether and led her people to settle on its wondrous surface. Okay, so we basically have to rotate this whole room, starting from the inside out. So you have to test the spinners to know which one you want to use first, and then you just steadily have to align them so that they're all glowing. There we go. Then I believe it's cobalt. And then the last one. So I just knew the order, but again, if you haven't played this before, you would have to test the spinners and experiment. Seeker launcher acquired. It's kind of like a charge beam for our missiles. Lets you shoot multiple missiles at different locked-on targets. Guess we should check out some of these. Subject was an elderly Luminoth. Approximate age is 4.2 centicycles. Advanced age did not keep him from defending this site or engaging in combat, however. Scan indicates this Luminoth was very young at time of death, not quite of adulthood. That a child would be pressed into combat duty suggests how desperate the Luminoth were at the war's end. Well, yeah, and like they had them defending the memorial, the Hall of Honored Dead. So there's the Seeker missiles. There aren't too many combat applications for it, unfortunately. Scans indicate this Luminoth perished due to lack of nourishment. She remained at her post despite the fact that she was starving to death. Not in danger of falling apart anytime soon. So it just basically goes to show, you know, the people that weren't fully fit to fight, they still use them to help defend these sites. Alright, so let's scan this key bearer, and you might be a little surprised to see where we're actually at right now. This last hit breached my armor. The poison spreads. Though I have found the key, it is too late for me. Soon my light will fail. They know I am here. They will come to this site to plunder the key. My last stand shall be at the edge of the temple grounds. I only hope I have the strength to fight when they arrive. Hey, it's our ship. So we're back at the beginning of the game. So we have now connected two parts of the temple grounds. Might as well hit this up. We can get full up on ammo. And now that we have Seeker missiles, we can go all the way back to Torvus. Now, I didn't go any deeper into Torvus, but if we would have hit a dead end. And it would have specifically been a Seeker door that we needed Seeker missiles for. And again, I think that's the point where the reason that it's a bit confusing to the player is because they're probably not sure what tool they need to proceed, and also it's not 100% clear that the Seeker door is actually what's stopping them from proceeding in Lower Torvus, because there's a bunch of different possibilities. So I open that door. That also provides a bit of a shortcut and fully connects the two areas. But I'm also going to jump down here and make another trip through the Galactic Federation base. So now there's a Dark Missile Trooper. Why don't we go ahead and use the light beam? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's burning. So he was a unique scan, and he drops a missile expansion. And we're just going to zip zoom through this. I have a reason for doing this now. You have to make another trip through here if you want to get the 100%, but the reason that I'm actually going through the base right now is because rather than going directly to the Torvus elevator, I'm going to cut back through Aegon Wastes. And you'll see. It'll make sense. Okay, so those are the 2 upgrades that we can get back through this base. We won't have to be coming through here again, especially because we opened up the violet door. So you never have to come through here again. Oh, just hang in there, emulator. You could do it, buddy. We just walked by another save station. I saved at my ship. I think that's good enough. I think that's good enough. So we had to jump through some hoops to get to Torvus in the first place, within that like giant U-shaped room, but now we have a shortcut through that room, and we've also connected it to the general area where the Aegon elevator is. While we walk through this, I guess I could just double check with my scan visor to make sure I didn't leave any enemies behind. It's always good to double check. I think I'm good on scans up until this point in the game. Pretty sure. Also, if you didn't notice, that's a giant dead Amorbus up there. Oh, so I hadn't mentioned this. One neat thing that they did add with the boost ball is you can use the boost ball to damage enemies that you boost into. So they added a lot of functionality to the boost ball and made it usable other than just a way to traverse half pipes. So that's nice. There's 2 ways up this half pipe. And 1 leads to this portal. So let's do this first. And this is the only way to get the missile expansion. You have to take the portal. You can't boost up this half pipe, unfortunately, because there's like a lip at the top of it so that you can't get over. So you have to do it in Light Aegon. There's no portal back, so you have to walk back to the portal room. It's kind of lame, but let's do this. It's always funny. Just hang in there, Prime Hack. Just let me get to the next save station, I beg of you. We've almost made the Seeker Missile pilgrimage incomplete. We're almost there. Okay, so you might ask, Jay Barino, now you're like a million years away from... You're a million years travel time away from Torvus Bogg. And I say, hang in there. Hang in there. I let loose a charge blast before I start the Seeker missiles because you have to hold down the missile button. So you basically have to waste a missile, launch that first missile to go into like the charge mode. You can bypass that by using your charge beam instead. Just saving that tiny bit of ammo. And look! Because we have the boost ball and the Seeker missiles, we now have an elevator to Torvus. There are a lot fewer shortcuts between areas. There's one elevator between each area to each other area in this game. Unlike Prime 1, where there's like a million between each one. Or at least 2, I should say. But look at where we are. Exactly where we want to be. In the bottom of the temple. Everything's coming up Millhouse. This doesn't take us to a new zone, it just takes us deeper into Torvus. Body has been heavily damaged by exposure to unknown chemicals, unable to determine cause of death. Target corpse has taken heavy chemical damage. There is some similarities to digestive fluids found in several creatures. Something may have tried to eat the corpse, yet was unable to finish. So this is a common theme. It seems like the corpses are preserved, and they're not being fed upon by, like, local carrion. Alright, and welcome to Lower Torvus Bogg, which has some awesome remixed Lower Brinstar music. But this is where we're going to stop for today. We just dipped our toes into Lower Torvus. We basically finished Upper Torvus. There's, of course, a bunch of extra stuff to get in this area, and Aegon Wastes, and Temple Grounds, but we just don't have all the tools we need to do a full cleanup, so we're not doing it yet. We're just going to keep pushing forward. Alright, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.